Mic check 1 2 1 2. This is Backyard Conversations. How you doing, Timmy?
I'm doing all good today. How you doing? What name are you going by?
Backyard Conversations.
What name are you going by?
Oh, a G.
G. All right. All right, G. Let's get started.
Let's do it. Hey, welcome to Backyard Conversations. This is a show where we're going to be talking about news, technology, culture, and entertainment. I'm going to be hosting this with Timmy. Timmy, say what's up.
It was good, everyone. First trial. It's our first show, so let's see how it goes.
Yeah, we're just going to get right into it because we're going to be mostly just conversing. Just going to be laid back, conversational type podcast. And we hope you guys like it and come back a second time. So we're going to start off with some news and the headlines. This is mostly going to be about news that you've heard about like in the past week or a couple of weeks. It's not going to be exactly breaking news. There's many other podcasts that do that. So first, we're going to talk about tech and how it's really a nightmare for people to lay their hands on a gaming console from the next gen.
Crazy right now going on with the PlayStation, especially.
Yeah.
I tried this morning. I got one.
I mean, thankfully for me, I got one last Christmas, and it was really a hassle. And ever since, I haven't had anybody I know personally who actually laid their hands on one console.
Yeah, I feel like obviously it was a lot more easy to get right at the beginning if you actually put effort into it.
Yeah.
But at that time I thought, you know what, forget it. It will come out soon. I'll just buy it then, and to rush in and get in line. And then I'm here now, right?
Man.
PlayStation.
See, and you know, guys who buy with bots and the scalpers, they really cashed out in the beginning.
I was selling it 100% increase.
Yep.
Yeah, people start buying PlayStations for $1,000. It's crazy. It's crazy out there in the streets.
It really is. I actually do have a friend who now I think is regretting selling his PS5 because he got one and then he sold it for profit, and now he just can't even lay his hands on the console.
Oh man, he can sleep with his profit, right? At least he can take solace in the fact that he's made money.
They made money.
Some of us, we ain't made no money. We ain't got no PlayStation.
Yeah.
We ain't played no FIFA. I just care.
Well, honestly, the experience has been, I wouldn't say necessarily next gen for me. I feel like more titles will come out on the PS5 that will make it worthwhile. But for now, it's mostly just FIFA, and it just looks prettier. Nothing has really changed much.
Yeah, I feel like maybe a lot of action games, that sort of thing, where the graphic interface is a lot better.
Yeah.
For example, but I feel like in terms of FIFA, there isn't really that much you can change, right? You can change the way the players look, the way the managers look, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, FIFA is a game where you actually want to play the game. You're not focusing so much on, oh, he looks so much like Neymar.
Yeah.
Life, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
The gameplay itself is where the focus is, and that's not going to change that much, right? Because there's only so much you can do with it.
Man, for me, speaking of FIFA, I'm just looking forward, I should say, to PES 2022, because that is my...
PES fan and take care, by the way. Guys.
There you go. I love PES so much. I feel like PES plays like real football as opposed to FIFA.
I don't know.
And so the fact that they skipped an entire generation on this next gen just so they could change the game engine and work on a new title changes the game for me. And I'm sure they're going to do something really, really special.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I hope that because I'll be honest, I started with PES as well, right? Because my controls now, when I go to FIFA, I always use alternate, right? Because there's the PES controls, so I still switch back and do that. I started with PES and then obviously switched on to FIFA later on when FIFA became a better game. And it's not just that, right? The fact that they have the rights, so that they have
the licenses.
The licenses for the player names, for the stadiums, for the teams. So it makes it a better experience, right? When you're playing with Barcelona, for example. And I don't think they have Camp Nou right now, though, right?
In FIFA or PES?
Yeah, in FIFA. I think
no, that's because right now Barcelona is still the official sponsor for PES.
Right.
So
okay.
So Barcelona, Arsenal, Juventus are teams that get proper licensing in PES right now. Some of the bigger teams. Unfortunately, they also lost Champions League to FIFA, so now they don't even have a Champions League in PES anymore.
Yeah. I mean, if they can find a way where they can share it to actually make sure there's actual competition, I don't think it's truly fair to just have FIFA have everything. And
right.
And I feel like FIFA has definitely slacking off over the last few years because they have a monopoly
essentially
in the market, right? So I don't feel like they're putting in enough work. They need to improve a lot on some gameplay and some glitches that I see happening here and there. But, see how it goes.
And even the pay for play, right? How FIFA does a pretty good job, especially in terms of EA, which is a whole different topic we'll talk about some other time. But how they're able to get you to pay for coins, quote unquote, and keep getting you to like just you already pay what $80 if it's Canadian for a title, and then they still keep making you pay extra charges just so you can enjoy your game,
And
which kind of sucks.
Money, right? Like at the end of the day, that's the corporation trying to make money, right? Like at the end of the day, they put in so much money into sponsoring like the actual games, like EPL and things like that, right? Like you see the name always popping up, EA Sports.
Yeah.
So they want to recuperate those costs, and at the same time they want to make money, right, for the company.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
but
I agree, but also, I'm almost certain that you cannot discount the fact that there's gonna be greed in this, right?
for sure, like,
Because these guys make a ton of money already, and just like, you know what? How can we copy this model? I think I might be wrong, but I think iOS, Apple, and in-app purchases were one of the first to like pave the way for this kind of behavior, and now it's like games just like ran away with it. It might not just be the App Store, but I'm sure in-app purchases weren't a thing until it went really, really crazy on mobile devices.
Yeah, probably on mobile devices, and I mean back in the day as well. I feel like a lot of like PC games.
Yeah.
So like maybe not necessarily PC, but in terms of like online games. So like I don't know. I think it was called RuneScape. If you know that game back in the day, it's like this virtual world building games where you attack other players and build your own world and that sort of thing. I know those guys were making bank, and I know a lot of kids back then would play that game.
Yeah.
And for hours a day at a time, and kids were even like getting their parents' credit cards, and buying coins or whatever, so they can build like their castle or whatever it is that they build, right? Like
interesting.
So it's crazy.
It really is, and that goes to show that, to circle back to the whole PS5 availability, like it's the familiar titles and maybe Spider-Man, Miles Morales, that are giving you a chance to actually feel this next gen experience, because there's really not much going, really.
Yeah, like I said, like when we're talking about FIFA, for example, like I mean, it doesn't really change, that greatly in the new PlayStation, but like games like Spider-Man, those kind of games where like the PlayStation has a lower loading time, because I watched a couple of videos on YouTube when they're like comparing to the others where you're going through a tunnel, for example.
Yeah.
And how in PlayStation back in the day, especially let's take it back. Like let's even go back to PlayStation 1.
Yeah. PS1,
like,
yeah.
PS1, PS2, right? And when you're loading, you go, when you finish the level and you go to the next one, it's like it brings up that little picture and it's like loading before But in this game it's seamless, right? You're like, say you're with Spider-Man, you're swinging through the tunnel. So crossing the page is loading right away.
Right.
You're continuing on in your game. Very seamless process, and of course those games, like I said, you want to also experience the graphics, right?
Yeah.
So really good.
Yeah.
Like the whole 3D type of vibe that you're seeing when you're playing that game. So like in that sense, they've done a lot more, because obviously it's a more powerful system, right?
Yeah.
But I always believed that PlayStation 3 was already ahead of its time. So it actually didn't really come to the end of its time yet. But
PS3, right?
Gonna make obviously companies want to make more money, and
what about a PS4?
Here and there.
Because
actually PS4 is what I meant to say.
Oh, okay.
PS3. So PS4 was ahead of its time, because that was a great machine.
It really is. I still have my PS4, and there's still, for me, obviously, a console is more about the games, right? And apart from PS4, the Sony consoles, I think Nintendo is the other console that has like a cult following when it comes to game titles like Mario, Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and things like that. But oh yeah, definitely. The PS5 has had a very strange start, but I don't think Sony are really complaining, because they're cashing out. And as soon as new boxes come out, they ship them out faster than you can say PS5.
Yeah, talking about that, though, I'm going back to Nintendo 64, man. Like, what happened to Nintendo? They just fell off the mark. Like, they were like the main competitor to PlayStation at first.
Yeah.
But I guess they didn't modernize fast enough. Like, they didn't get into CDs. What really happened there? I don't really know.
For me, I think Nintendo, for the most part, has always focused more on the quality of the console than just the power, like talking about raw specs. And that is very evident in like the Switch, where they have titles that are more focused on storytelling, the narrative, or even the user experience. In the case where PlayStation and Xbox are pushing you towards playing online, like in Call of Duty or whatever, Switch wants you to hang out with your friends and like play split screen titles. So I think they go more for like, hey, you know what? This is a console where you can enjoy by yourself, or you can enjoy with a group of friends on a Friday night. And I also think the titles as well as the innovation and the hardware, talking about how you can dock the Switch and then you can also take it with you as a mobile gaming device. I think it's just priceless.
So you think also as well, like given how the games are set up, like the split screens and taking it with you, and just the look of the game in general in terms of the graphics of what kind of games, because it hasn't changed that much from like say Mario in like Nintendo 64, like might be geared towards like a younger audience. Because I don't think there's any R-rated games, if any.
Oh, there's quite a few.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they're slashers, and they're like as a matter of fact, I'm not sure about Call of Duty, but it might probably be on there. But I play only Mario on the Switch, and I've been trying to get into Breath of the Wild because I've heard so many things about it. But I know it's a pretty good game. But yeah, they really do try and cater to like hardcore gamers and entry level gamers. But it really depends on how much time you're willing to commit, as opposed to like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, which is more about stay in your bedroom and play with somebody across the world. It's okay.
Yeah, it's fair saying. But I mean, that's probably why they're big news right now, right? In this COVID world that we're living in, because we're not really able to, meet up with people.
Yep.
Or hang out together. So might be breaking the bank that way. But I'm not sure what it is. Is there still? So, like, I mean, you're more of a Switch guy. You know more about Switch than I do, right?
Barely.
But like, what do you know about like online gaming in that world, like in the Nintendo Switch world?
Yeah, I really don't think it's one of those things that compares even remotely to
Is
like.
there a lot of games like that are online where you can play with other people?
They really are. They have their own version of PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live. I forget what it's called. It's Nintendo something. I never got on it, but it does allow you play pretty much any title that supports multiplayer. Play it remotely. So
do you know if it's a paid subscription or?
Yeah, you pay just like everybody else.
Okay.
I remember when Sony came out, it was for free.
Yeah.
But they noticed that Microsoft was making bank off of charging people for Xbox Live, and they're like, well, guys, you're gonna have to start paying up for this. But yeah,
that's the problem when you have monopolies, because these guys are basically, well, not monopoly but a dipoly, where it's like it just goes to them, right? Like there's really no real competitor to Sony or Microsoft.
Oh no! But that's a fun fact though. During COVID, the Switch outsold both of them.
Yeah, but they're not. So I feel like even people that have Switches might have like a PlayStation as well.
Oh yeah.
So in terms of like hardcore gamers, like it's not a real competitor, right?
Yeah.
So people will be like, I guess I'll put it like iOS versus Android, right?
Yeah.
It's like those are the two biggest mobile platforms. So you either go in one of the two. Obviously, there's still. Microsoft stopped making theirs because they weren't making any money. No one's really doing it. But there's other like smaller platforms.
There used to be Palm OS. I think it just died, and even BlackBerry OS is gone.
So in that essence, it's basically two giants like Microsoft versus Sony, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like if there are more competitors, then you might see more competition, better gaming. But at the same time as well, you kind of want people to have the same console, so that way there's more connectivity.
Oh yeah.
So you can play with yourselves, like play your friend across the. And I think they're actually working on having a Sony, Microsoft interplay. No. Yeah,
they had a merge, not like a merger, but they had a bit of agreement recently to focus on cloud gaming.
Yeah.
And I think that's just going to encourage crossplay, right? So regardless of what console you're on, you can play versus. Which is really interesting to actually see Sony and Microsoft come together to work in a space where they are heavily competitive against each other.
Sure.
It would be interesting to see how COVID has also affected entertainment in general, not just like games, right? Because I know for gaming, people can stay indoors now, just game from morning till night or whatever. But what about films, music, TV? Have you been watching a lot more TV?
I think for sure, because like I'm not out, you're not out in the streets, and so definitely more TV shows, especially maybe not as many movies, because obviously they're not releasing as many movies, just because COVID, like acting, whatever, right? But definitely more TV. I'm trying to think that maybe in terms of music, I'm not too sure. Like I feel like maybe I do listen to more music because like now I'm working at home, so I just play music on my speakers while I'm working.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you're in the office, you're probably not, playing music, right? So, in that sense, I might be consuming more music, but I guess music has been affected in terms of like concerts, for example. No one's going.
Yeah.
There's no concerts, so there's no music festivals. There's none of that. And in terms of movies as well, like in theaters, they're not making as many, and the theaters are barely they're not capacity. Like
Yeah.
they're definitely losing some money there, right? So I mean, it's some areas they've gained. Like I'm guessing I haven't looked at the numbers yet, but I'm guessing subscriptions have gone up, right? A lot of people subscribe to Disney Plus, like for example, right, or Crave, HBO, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And probably Netflix also increased their subscribers, right? So in that in that aspect, there's gains, but everything else I feel like is a loss. Over the last year,
Yeah.
really, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I think with you on music, I'm the same, except I discovered an app during Christmas called Marvis, which is a music player, and it was on sale for like $1, so I bought it. I think it's usually maybe $3 or whatever. And basically, what this app does is it goes through your music library and reminds you of songs that you haven't listened to in a while that maybe you used to listen to. And it does a great job of like giving you this nostalgic effect. And I'm just here listening to songs. I'm like, oh my goodness. And it curates it very nicely for you. And it even shuffles in some cases if you wanted to. And that has really helped me rediscover music I love. And also in terms of like working from home, I find that sometimes to try and focus instead of just listening to like beats or whatever, when I'm working, I listen to like film soundtracks, like film scores. And
Okay.
I'm so amazed by how it affects how I work. Like I'm just there working, and then the score from like The Godfather comes up, or from like Pixar, so, or from Up, from Pixar. Like it's so random, and you'll be amazed how much movie soundtrack because it just hits you like, oh wait, this is from that movie, and you realize how memorable
Yeah.
these film scores are.
That's interesting you say that, because like I mean I don't listen to it in the same way you do, but I've had moments where I'm like, oh, I want to listen to the soundtrack, and I go on like YouTube and go play, like for instance I know I was listening to like 3 weeks ago like Game of Thrones soundtrack, and like you know how they have theme songs for like different characters or whatever, like Game of Thrones has its actual theme song, and like Daenerys has her own theme song, for example, right? So like I remember listening to, because like the emotion and the music, right, and the sound of listening to that. I mean, that might be something I'll try out and see how that goes.
Oh, yeah.
But I want to know more about this app you're talking about, though. Like, so it says it curates, from your playlist. Where is it? Are you on Apple Music, or what do you use to?
Yes,
So
so I'm on
that-
Apple Music. I'm not on
Okay.
Spotify.
Okay.
Thankfully, Spotify is free with ads, obviously, but I kind of sort of prefer how Apple Music works for me right now. So I just stuck with it. And so what Marvis does is it goes through there. I'm sure it's just a bunch of random if-else statements. Like if you haven't played this song, or maybe you favorited this song, or you put a star on it like 5-7 years ago. And it just plays, I have most played, I have forgotten albums, I have forgotten songs. And and even recently added, like it just puts them together in one place, and it just like reminds you of what you used to listen to before. And it does a really good job, because you're like, oh my goodness, I don't even remember when last I listened to this song. And it's very nostalgic. It's really
I
good.
think it works for Spotify as well.
It just might. I have to look into it. I'm not
Okay.
sure, but it's called Marvis. It's on the App Store. It's pretty good.
I'll check that out. See what I've been listening to. Because these days you find when you keep adding music, especially in Spotify. I
Yeah.
don't know about Apple Music. I tend to listen to what's the most recently added ones.
Yeah.
As I go down the list, right? So I'll listen to that for a few weeks, and then when I
Yeah.
add more music, I'll listen to that. 'Cause
Yeah.
I don't really make a lot of like playlists, so that might be a good idea. So bring up like a song from
Yeah. That'd be really nice. I feel like at some point, music, apps and services will do this by default, right? Because this app sounds like a feature waiting to happen inside of Spotify or Apple Music, or even Pandora. Which, speaking of Pandora, it is one of my favorite music discovery apps. So my favorite streaming platform, obviously, right now is Apple Music, because I'm paying for it. The second favorite will easily be Pandora, because there's so much music discovery that happens for me on Pandora, and it's like people should get on Pandora more.
I don't know. I feel like Spotify covers it for me as well, because like
Yeah.
we have like Discover Weekly, for example, like a
Yeah.
playlist where it thinks you might like some things, brings up new music and puts it in there. You can go watch it, right?
Yeah.
And then it has albums that based on what you listen to, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe you might like this. So I feel like Spotify sort of has like a good coverage. Like I find new music on Spotify every now and then.
Yeah.
It just groups things together very nicely, so I'm not sure. And then another way I actually find music is like YouTube. YouTube is pretty good. And
That's
then
the thing. YouTube's algorithm is I don't know how precise. It's too precise.
you can get lost in YouTube.
You
honestly.
easily can get lost
Watch
in
one
it.
thing, and then before you know, you just open more tabs. Like
Yep.
okay, next one, next tab.
Yep,
and
yep.
just
It's very addictive. I actually do have a friend who one time had to like stop going on YouTube because he said it was an addiction for him. Um, so if anyone's listening out there and you have a YouTube addiction, seek help.
Go to a therapist, man, because
Yeah.
if you're finding yourself wasting hours procrastinating on YouTube,
Yep.
YouTube is probably the number one source of procrastination in the world right now, to be honest. Like,
And unfinished assignments and tasks.
exactly. But I mean, big up to YouTube, what they've done in the last few years. I got to say, like, content after content, they just,
Yeah.
it's out there. I feel like if they took away streaming services, for example, now you could probably survive on YouTube, especially with a lot of the indie shows and like,
Yeah.
like, I mean, look at Issa Rae, for example, right? If we go back, like using her as an example, she had Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, right? There's a lot of actual shows like that on YouTube that you can actually
Just watch.
and be entertained, right? Not talk about the various channels with different content depending on what you're interested in. Like whatever you're interested in, like you will find it on YouTube.
For real.
I believe if it's cooking, if it's travel, like whatever, right?
Or even if you're like a super villain trying to build your own lair.
Trust me, you find it on YouTube as well. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Oh man, so YouTube is, one of the sub sections of Google / Alphabet, right? And they're one of the companies that saw a lot of growth in the past year, in this pandemic and this crazy times we're in. What other companies do you think really had a good year, and which ones do you think just like were shattered and may never even come back?
Let's go on. Let me think about that. Let's see. So, I mean, companies in logistics are definitely doing well this year. So,
Okay.
if you think about like Amazon, for example, I'm sure that skyrocket, everyone was ordering online, especially in the first few months when people were just bored and buying things they don't need.
Yeah. What about like
ordering.
FedEx and UPS? No.
Yeah, FedEx and UPS, those guys. FedEx did really well actually.
Yeah.
Better than UPS. They only had
Interesting.
issues when they announced that they couldn't keep up with some of the deliveries. Like
Interesting.
so they had issues where the stocks dropped a bit, but it was still higher than where they started off. So they, probably did like 100% on like increase on their share price, right? So those guys did well. Online stores, right? Basically online in the first place. I think people that really suffered were like in-house, like where you had to walk in, services,
Yeah.
restaurants. Well, those guys took a big hit.
Yeah.
Capacity, even when they opened up, the capacity was limited, right? Didn't have as much people. Let's not even go into the nightlife entertainment. Those guys are dead. I'm not even sure if like a lot of them can come back. I feel like going forward, maybe the ones that changed their business model and became maybe a bar or a restaurant or something.
Like the guys who went in
for a
for a pivot. Yeah.
They might never come back because think about it, like they've been a year without, unless they also sell crazy insurance. You might now see that the restaurants that we have might then evolve to be the nightlife that we might see tomorrow, right?
Well said.
Places
very
like,
true.
let's say maybe Cactus in Vancouver here, where they always have DJs, good music, good lighting. At nighttime they have a bar. You might see that pick up after the pandemic, right? After we get our vaccines and more people go in there, and hanging out as opposed to a traditional nightlife club vibe. Just 'cause, I mean, unless there's gonna be some new investors, who knows? Right?
Yeah, I mean that's just really well put, because I know a lot of all these like nightclubs, like they seem completely hopeless at times like this, right? But some other like brick and mortar establishments, a lot of malls and like all these stores that people would normally have to walk into, obviously they all took a hit. But I'm thinking mom and pop shops right now, and how some of them were able to like survive, and some were able to take their business online with like platforms like Shopify or whatever. What do you think is the ratio of like the people who were able to at least try and find a way to pivot or to take their business online versus those who just like died altogether?
I mean, don't evolve though. If you don't evolve, you die, right? So I feel like there's still a huge percentage that did not go online because a lot of people are not open to change, and even before they didn't, want to do certain. But then at the same time, I can't really say what the percentage. A few people took on payments, online payments, and tap payments, and things like we definitely saw booms in like industries like Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes, where a lot more restaurants have signed up because like this is the only way they can get the food out. Some restaurants just closed altogether. Bother even going on those apps.
Oh man. Speaking of restaurants, yeah, pro tip. Every time your government announces a lockdown, I don't know how long these lockdowns are going to be around for, but like places like Toronto, maybe even Calgary, wherever so often there's always a lockdown because of some kind of spike. Hurry up and check your DoorDash or Uber Eats because restaurants don't want food to waste, so they do a lot of promos.
Okay, good tip.
So that's a pro tip. If you hear lockdown and you're the kind of person who likes eating out, check your Uber Eats, check your DoorDash or something. Go skip the dishes. There's something waiting for you on there.
Okay, say no more. We're doing that tonight because we just had a lockdown and it's been 2 weeks now, right?
It's been 2 weeks.
Been a
Yeah,
week.
I mean that first week, like it was crazy. There was a lot of deals online.
Yeah, like
Because then you don't want to freeze something. You don't want to freeze your beef for like 2 weeks and nobody's buying it.
for sure. Like, I mean, the total industry, so total communities have been surviving, and especially restaurants. I don't know about other cities, but
Yeah.
places like Vancouver, like you have commercial road, for example, right?
Yeah.
Commercial drive.
Yeah.
And you have places like Main Street,
Mhm.
where it's just a bunch of restaurants lining up the whole streets, and like that was the heart of that community.
Yep.
Like people in the evenings, going out.
I wonder how they're doing now.
Food. Yeah, I mean, obviously the life there is already, is down because you're not allowed to go sit in anymore unless you have an outside patio, and even then, the numbers will still be reduced, right? So, I mean, curious to see how those guys come out of it or at the other end of it, right?
Yeah.
Or they might get some help from the government. Who knows? We'll see, right? But I mean, I wish them the best.
Mhm.
Hopefully, things can get back to normal because, we'd like to see a thriving community again.
Speaking of community, the whole world was watching like this past couple of weeks about the trial over George Floyd's murder, and
man.
I think that's something that we can close on because it's like a somber note, and the fact that it is really obvious to everybody who saw the video that this man was murdered in the street. The fact that there was so much tension as to whether the police officer will be charged and found guilty goes to prove how crazy the system is that you can kill somebody on camera and there's still a chance of you getting away with it.
Exactly. It's a systematic thing. I've said it time and time again how it doesn't make sense to argue against this because it's happened. Like, this is a system that existed already to
Yep.
oppress black people and, people of color in general. Look at the system of apartheid in South Africa, for example. People want to argue there's no racism there today. I mean, the UK government released a statement saying there's no systematic racism
That's
in
just
a country that did not go against South Africa because of the money they were making from the trade that they had with this country. They said nothing about apartheid, right? And they're saying it's not systematic. I mean, wasn't it the government institutions that were making those decisions?
Yep.
Like, come on, man. Like, let's open our eyes and see what's really going on. Like, I don't want to go into it too much right now because
Yeah.
we don't have that much time.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave it at a suitable time. But I mean, it goes so far back, even in Canada, residential schools, and them going to getting advice, from the South African government how they made the system work when they went to put that into the residential school systems, and just the world and Great Britain, the number one propagator of oppression, right?
the
This guy's
colonizer of the
colonized,
world.
oppressed us, and stealing wealth is gonna come out and tell me they don't have systematic racism when till today they're still exploiting. Like, come on, let's be
Yeah.
real about it. But I mean, good look on the verdict. Like, hopefully that can be a start, and hopefully that can send a message to other police officers to be like, you're here to serve and protect the community. You can't get away with things like this. So that way they can, take more care in dispensing their duties
Right.
to the citizens, right?
Right, definitely. I mean, there's this some kind of celebration or whatever about this verdict. For me, it's just a somber moment to really reflect what it's like being this different shade of skin in this part of the world. It could go from being ecstatic to like really really frightening, and the fact that regardless of what you're doing, you can be in your apartment, you could be taking a walk in the park, you could be driving your car, you could be minding your own business, and somebody's just gonna come for you just because they don't like how you look and just take you out, or maybe because they feel intimidated by you and just trying to mess with you. I think it's really unfortunate, definitely, and it's really a somber moment. I think we can all reflect on that and see how, as a people, we can significantly do better, man.
For sure, like, we need the world to wake up and start moving in a positive direction, for sure.
Definitely. All right, we're gonna close on that note. Rest in peace, George Floyd, and big thank you to everyone who's listened to episode 1. Stay tuned because there's gonna be a new one coming soon. Again, my name is A to the J I a G, and I'm here hanging out with
Tammy Davis.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Have a good one, people. Cheers.